Hey, how's it going, guys? Domino Paris 21 here, and back again with yet another deck profile for you all. So, of course, what I have to present to you guys is my Revenger deck with, well, who else? Raging Form Dragon himself. So, overall with Revengers, I mean, this deck is definitely a cookie cutter deck, as you can say. I mean, it's not the most exciting deck to showcase necessarily, but I mean, while this deck is fairly standardized for the most part, there is some slight room for a few tech choices, and there's definitely a few directions you can go about with this deck with the little room it has. Definitely shout out to my good buddy David from Vanguard and Juan Mango. I'll leave links to their channels down below. But they've been playing, they're a pretty long time Shadow Paladin player, so they definitely had a lot of great ideas to share with me, so it definitely helped influence some of my decisions with this deck. So yeah, without further ado, let's actually get to it. So, first off, for your starter, I am playing, if I can flip this, come on Urza. Frontline Revenger Claudas. Now, for the record, I do have access to a Creeping Dark Goat, as I theorized with some of my friends, I just like Claudas. I felt like Claudas is a lot more consistently reliable overall. Like, basically with Claudas, if you guys actually don't know her skill, what she does is when you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, you counterblast 1, put her in Soul, and Superior Call a Blast Strike Revenger from your deck. Now, of course, being able to tutor into a Blast Strike Revenger and maybe to try and get a kill off, or to just get another beater on the field if you don't happen to draw any, is definitely really good. But the main thing I really like about her is, well, one, she's a good solid 5k booster, so being able to back up a Mordred Phantom hitting for 18 against cross rides, or even still a solid 16 with the Raging Form, is always going to be good. But most importantly, she's a Revenger. So as kind of like what I theorized, with Creeping Dark Goat, Goat is good, of course, with preventing Masquerades and even fishing out another Raging Form, or trying to open the Mordred Phantom in case you open Raging Form instead. But really, for the most part, when I was playing with Goat, I mainly used Goat to help prevent me from misgrading. But other than that, I didn't really feel that much need for him, because the way I see it is, yeah, you can use it to fish a Raging Form Dragon, but if you use him early game and Raging Form Dragon happens to be in the top 5 cards of your deck, then, well, you're most likely going to draw into him or drive check him anyway, so you're going to get the Raging Form either or. So I felt like Claudas was a lot better just because it can stay on the field to be a solid 5k booster, and also at the same time, you can use it, it's really good sack fodder for Raging Form, because if you already have all the cards you need, Claudas Claudas just works a lot better for you. So that's really my opinion on it. So I found Claudas, like I said, to be a lot more consistently reliable. And then next up, yeah, of course, your 4 Raging Form Dragons. I mean, I'm sure we all know what he does, but in case you guys don't know what he does, is Limit Break 4, at the end of battle that he attacks your opponent's Vanguard, you pay the cost, which is retiring 3 Revenger units, and then if you have another copy in your hand, you can Superior Ride it, and it's in standing position, and it gets plus 10k. So of course it's a restanding Vanguard, so it's Persona Ride, I guess people say. So obviously, you attack, end of battle, it doesn't have to hit obviously, so sacrifice 3 Revengers, call it, or ride it, and then just swing again. So definitely a very good. I mean, I like to say he's kind of like a Spectral Duke Dragon, because I mean this deck kind of plays like what Spectral Duke Dragon pretty much does, except better. But yeah, I mean, just really good. One thing, of course, what I like about him is that obviously, if you drive check him, you can still use the skill. So I mean, 4 is obviously a must in the deck, so there's really not much to talk about for him. Then next, you have your 4 Mordred Phantom, of course, the break ride for the deck. What he does is when you ride a Shadow Paladin on top of him at Limit Break 4, you, excuse me guys, you Superior Call 1 grade 2 or less Shadow Paladin from the deck. It could be any Shadow Paladin, doesn't have to be a Revenger, and you pay the cost of counterblast 1 obviously for that, and the unit you call out gains plus 5. So Mordred Phantom, in my opinion, is definitely one of the best break rides in the game. Just because, one, I mean, he's very effective just to use on top of himself. So I definitely like break rides that are very very efficient. If you use one on top of the other. So I mean, individually, skill wise, I mean, he's definitely amazing. Being able to, of course, tutor to your field basically and converting like, you know, grade 3s that have no shield value anyway to just anything you need on your field and gain power from that is always going to be good. So definitely loving this card. Even if, like, I even had some games where I didn't even, like, I wasn't able to, like, draw a Raging Form for some reason, but just Mordred Phantom was just really good just to help toolbox your deck, or as we like to call farm. So, Mordred Phantom, really amazing card. Next up for grade 2s, I am running 4 Blaster Dark Revengers. I mean, not much more to say about that. Definitely one of the key cards in the deck just to help enable, important skills. But if you guys don't know what he does, when he's placed on Vanguard Revenger Circle, counterblast 2, and you retire 1 unit in the front row. So really good solid skill, get some nice kills off. And then you have your 4 Masquerades, 12k attackers, not much more to say about that. And then you have 4 of my favorite card in the deck, 4 Revenger Tartus, one of my waifus. But yes, I am running 4 Tartus. If you guys don't know what she does, is when she is placed on Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, you counterblast 2, Superior Call a Revenger in the same column as her. So obviously, essentially, when you use her skill, it's an automatic +1 for yourself, and she pretty much converts herself into a free booster. So one reason why I like to play 4 Tartu is simple as this. Although Blaster Dark Revenger of course, has a really good use of skill to retire units, I usually find myself just wanting to use Tartu more, just because, you know, one, Tartu is just such a strong card to open with, just to help set up key cards in the deck, particularly the Dorinth, which of course combos with the Blaster Dark Revenger to unflip damage. And also at the same time, I mean, you know, Tartu, like with Tartu and Blaster Dark Revenger, they're both going to be +1s for yourself anyway. Obviously, Blaster Dark Revenger gives you pluses by minusing your opponent, and Tartu just gives you a +1 to yourself. But Tartu, I just found Tartu a lot better. Just be able to tutor to your field, thin out the deck a little bit, and just get your initial setups is just way too important in the deck. So that's why I just love Tartu a lot overall. So simple as that. And what I like, of course, you know, when you're running 4 Tartus and 4 Blaster Dark Revengers, I mean, you're always going to have an option of how you want to plus for yourself. So it's definitely a good balance. And then next up for grade 1s, you have your 4 Perfect Guards. Obviously, it honestly doesn't. If you actually have the older Perfect Guards, I mean, you don't really have to go out of your way right now to get the Revenger ones, because it doesn't really make a difference unless you're really desperate for you know, sack material for Raging Form. But I mean, if you don't have them, it's not a big deal. So 4 of those. 4 Dorinth. As I mentioned earlier, she combos with Blaster Dark Revenger. Whenever you call a Blaster Dark Revenger in the same column as her, you unflip a damage. So essentially, you can use Blaster Dark Revenger skill for just the cost of 1 counterblast. Or like I said, you know, using this combination right here just helps to free up counterblast for other units too, such as you know, mainly Tartu. So Dorinth is definitely a huge card for this deck, just to help give more flexibility with consistently enabling your skills. So really good card, and I like that she's 7k. Then you have your 4 Masquerade, grade 1s, that's your 10k attackers when you have a Revenger Vanguard, always good cards to play. And then I am playing the 1 Malice Revenger Dylan. He's just the special booster for Raging Form Dragon. So you Soul Blast, when you boost a Raging Form, you Soul Blast and he gains +5, so he's 11k booster. Now, one thing you're going to notice with my grade 1 lineup is I don't play Dark Bond Trumpeter. With Dark Bond Trumpeter, honestly, with my experience playing that card, it was always so dead to me. Every time I had the opportunity to use Dark Bond Trumpeter, I just used Tartu instead. Or if I end up drawing to a Dark Bond, I already had a full field, or I already had an established field, so I never really found the need for Dark Bond. Because typically, you know, if you run Dark Bond, you know, I had like Goat as my starter, and I ran a second Claudas in the deck, or I ran another Claudas in the deck. But then, I don't know why, with my bad luck, I always seem to damage check the Claudas or drawing into it before I get to use Dark Bond, so I was forced to like call out draw triggers, which was kind of annoying. I mean, it's still not too bad, but I'd rather just, you know, max out the Tartus and just use her just to get better tutors to my field. So so I just found that a lot better. I just never found the need for Dark Bonds, and I don't know, it just never benefited me whenever I tested in my testing with them. So that's really why I don't play them. And then of course for triggers, you have your 8 crit, all Revengers, 4 draw, 4 heal. I mean, there's really nothing much more to it. But yeah, guys, So like I said, it's not the most exciting deck. For the most part, it's kind of cookie cutter, but still amazing deck nonetheless. As always, guys, leave a comment down below with any question, concerns you may have, and don't forget to leave a thumbs up on this video regardless, and subscribe to my channel if you hadn't. Well, on that, guys, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Later.